There is a long-standing myth believed by millions of people, especially within the bodybuilding community, and that is the idea of muscle memory. Sorry to break it to you, Arnold Schwarzenegger and friends, but muscle memory simply doesn't exist. If you want to learn the truth of how muscle memory really works, keep on watching. The human body has around 650 skeletal muscles in total. These allow for all of the different movements within our body. In this video, we will be discussing the science behind how muscles really work, revealing the truth of the mind and muscle connection, and 8 ways you can use to improve your muscle performance and growth. Muscles are attached to our bones via tendons, and this allows our muscles to pull on the bones, causing different movements in our body. Muscles are made up of actin and myosin filaments, which slide together, which allow muscles to shorten as well as lengthen. Muscles are only able to pull and cannot push, so muscles are often found in pairs. So let's use the example of an arm. You have your biceps on one side and triceps on the other, and as the bicep shortens, your arm bends, and as the triceps shorten, your arm straightens out. Let's discuss the truth behind the mind-muscle connection. Muscles themselves have no memory. There are no dedicated neurons for our muscles to be able to memorize what happens. What's really happening is it's our brain that is storing all of these memories. The human brain can store memories of muscle coordination, so things like walking don't require thinking. So it's processed subconsciously in the brain, so we don't have to consciously think about contracting each muscles in our legs to just start walking. So muscle memory is kind of a lie, and it's more accurate to just call it memory. Anyone who's worked out in the gym for any significant amount of time will know that initial performance gains are really fast in the first few weeks. This is because new neural pathways are formed between the brain and muscles, which strengthen over time as we continue to work out. These neural pathways allow our muscles to coordinate more in sync as we practice the movements. And this is actually where a huge amount of performance gains are made in the gym initially. This study in Ohio compared 3 groups of people. 2 of these groups were taught to imagine movement of their muscles as if it was real. And they did this in the finger and bicep. And this study found that just imagining the movement of these muscles actually increased their strength. And finger movement was improved by 35%, and bicep strength was increased by 13.5%. So simply imagining the movement of our muscles can increase their strength. This shows that new motor units are recruited in the muscle, and new connections in the brain are formed. And this increases our muscle strength. It's important to note that this study was only done on 30 people, so I would personally like to see much more participants for this study to have more validity. But it's still interesting to see, and with any research that I do mention, do take it with a grain of salt. The mind-muscle connection isn't just one way. You may have heard of a study in psychology that showed that simply smiling and moving our facial muscles can change our emotional mood. The relationship between our mind or brain and our muscles is a very intimate one, with each strengthening each other as they grow and form connections together. Let's go through some ways we can use to increase our muscle performance and muscle growth. The first tip is to train them. Very much like our brain, our muscles need to be trained in order to get stronger. This is probably super obvious to most of you watching, so let's move on to tip number 2. Number 2 is vary your exercises. By varying the exercises that you do, you actually form new neural connections between the brain and muscles. And this helps to train and strengthen the central nervous system. Number 3 is hydration. Muscles work much more effectively when they're hydrated. This is due to several reasons, one of them being that muscle fatigue is linked to overheating of the muscles. A hydrated muscle takes much longer to be overheated than a dehydrated muscle, so stay hydrated for increased muscle performance. Number 4 is creatine. Creatine helps to pull water into our muscles, and there are many studies, probably hundreds that I've seen, which show that creatine increases muscle performance. It's only a slight increase, but it is a significant one. Creatine monohydrate is the cheapest form of creatine that you can buy. And there's actually very little evidence to show that more expensive forms of creatine are significantly more effective than just creatine monohydrate. So in my opinion, don't waste your money on more expensive forms of creatine and just buy creatine monohydrate. It's very effective. Number 5 is rest and recovery. Muscle growth actually happens mostly when we rest, not when we're in the gym. And this is especially true during sleep. So good quality sleep helps to recover our central nervous system as well as our muscles as they are repaired during sleep. Good quality sleep is also essential for recovering our central nervous system, which can be put under a lot of strain when we undergo strenuous activities such as weightlifting. So remember to rest your mind and muscles in order for them to recover and grow stronger. Number 6 is nutrition. For muscles in particular, muscles require proteins and amino acids for repair and growth. Carbohydrates after a workout also help to replenish the glycogen stores. And the side effect of this is it actually makes your muscles look bigger, if you happen to care about that. For the brain, omega-3 is essential for central nervous system recovery. So supplementing omega-3 can increase your muscle performance as well as your brain performance. Number 7 is train your brain. Like a muscle, your brain can be trained and made stronger as new neural connections are formed and grow through neuroplasticity. Increasing brain strength actually allows your muscles to push past previous levels of fatigue, even when your muscles are physically tired. And done progressively over time, this can help to increase muscle performance and growth as the connection between your brain and muscles gets stronger. And number 8 is challenge yourself for progressive overload. The human body is an incredibly efficient machine and will do everything in its power to conserve energy and resources, including proteins. Our muscles will only continue to have a reason to grow if we continue to increase the amount of weight and progressive overload. So challenge yourself to progressive overload of the weights that you use. And I actually recommend using the tiny plates you see in the gym to increase small amounts of weight to put your muscles under progressive overload. And don't be afraid to ask for a spotter if you are going for personal records or PRs. If you happen to see me in the gym, feel free to ask for a spot and I'm happy to help. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button. This helps to spread quality free medical education. Not everyone is fortunate enough to have a medical degree. So I want to give this away for free so that more people can learn how to train their brain. Check out the How the Human Body Works playlist if you want to learn more about the brain connections. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you guys in the next video.